This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and the mailman brought me a really interesting lock today. This is the Eagle Supr-Security rim cylinder. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, this lock is the granddaddy of the Acetwin, of the Schlage Primus, of the Multi-Lock MT5 Plus. All of these nasty sidebar locks that incorporate multiple locking devices. This is one of the first. Let me show you the keys. The keys are themselves pretty unique. You can see we have some bitting on the edge on the left side there. That bitting controls 4 wafer or disc tumblers on the left side of the keyway. Then we have the track cut in the side of the key. That track controls 4 sliders to the right of the keyway. And these aren't like the more modern sliders that stay totally within the core when they move. These sliders, if they're misaligned either a little bit, either way, they will stick out of the core into the housing, so the sliders themselves prevent the core from turning. If that's not enough, we also have a sidebar right on the right side here, and that fits into gates cut in the side of those sliders, and of course there are false gates as well. So, while this lock certainly isn't up to the standards of the more modern equivalents of those, things like the Acetwin or the Schlage Primus, it's not a slouch. So we're going to see what we can do to pick into this lock, and then I will take it apart and show you as much as I can of what's inside. Unfortunately, this lock is held together with some factory crimps that I don't want to break because this lock is a bit of a collector's item. Okay, first thing, we're going to push all these sliders into their fully down position. Then we'll apply some tension and start looking for binders. Nothing on 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4 is binding. I got a little movement and the core turned just a bit. Okay, I think 1, we got some movement on him. I think he's in a gate. Okay, 2, we got him into a gate. He feels set. 3 feels set. I didn't move him at all. Okay, we might be good to go on these sliders. Let me switch over to this 18 thousandths hook and check our disc tumblers. 1's loose. Little bit on 2. Little bit of movement on 3. Okay, 4 is definitely binding. Got to click out of him. Back to 1. And we got the lock open. Okay, so like I said, certainly not as hard as the more modern locks, but it is an interesting little pick. I've already removed the backer from this, so we can slide it right out the front. And let me get a key so I can remove this plastic ring. And I'll start showing you what we've got inside this lock. First, let me show you the factory crimps. We have them here, here, another one right there, one here, and then all over the sidebar. They prevent this lock from being taken apart. So I would show you everything inside, but I don't want to damage the lock. So the first thing we have are those disc tumblers or wafers. They're right here. And you can see if we take the key out, they pop up, they go into grooves that are cut into the keyway, the top and the bottom, or I'm sorry, cut into the lock body, and they will prevent it from turning. And if we look carefully at the shape of these wafers, you can see they have 2 steps, which sometimes requires you to pick them more than once. Then next we have our sliders on the other side of the keyway. And you can see when a key is not inserted, these sliders can pop up or down, and when they fall out of the bottom of the keyway, they actually prevent the core from turning. But once we put the key in, they all align and the core can turn. If they're not aligned as well, that sidebar will not push into the cylinder. That also prevents the core from turning. But if it is fully inserted, of course, it will go inside. It doesn't look like much from modern standards when you're used to looking at things like Acetwins, But remember, this lock was patented in 1959 and hit the market in 1961. So clearly a lock that was way ahead of its time. Unfortunately, the owners of the company didn't have so much business sense, and the company didn't last for that long, at least not under the management it had. If we look at these sliders, I can't show you them in person, but I do have a diagram here, and you can see these little nubs sticking out. Those are what track in the cut in the side of the key, and you can see we have at least one false gate and one true gate cut in the side of each. Then that sidebar, nothing really unusual about that, looks just like a modern one. So this has been our Eagle Supr-Security rim cylinder. If you have any questions or comments about this great old lock, please put them below. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. Thank you.